Hey, bitches, what's going on? It's your boys, Cody and Blue, doing our thing, thing.
No, we're doing it.
This is Show Vibes On. Yes, where Blue and Cody talk about whatever the fuck we want, you know? We would say because it's our show, but not yours, but I don't want to get sued by Trixie Mattel. So, what I am going to say is that we talk about things that are important to us. And if they're not important to you, that's perfectly fine and that's okay.
It's not your show.
But like,
Oh,
hang out for the vibes. Stay for the vibes. They're chill.
only.
The only vibes we know are chill ones.
We have a guest.
Mm.
We have your son.
Yes, my son is joining us as well, so if you hear some dying or whatever. Now, today is going to be a pretty special little epic because Blue and I are actually we're going to be working while we're working. You know, we're currently folding laundry and putting away, unpacking boxes at my new place.
New place.
Had a bit of a family emergency and it required a move. So I just want to first off say thank you to all of our listeners that we're going to be coming back to this because I know we had to take a little bit of time away, but good to know that definitely worth it. The move has been worth it already. New place is great. So once we get our videos back up and going, you'll see a bit of a different studio space. Uh, but yeah, that's what we got going on. So we decided, you know what? Why not record and unpack? You know, unpack, unpack with us. That's gonna be great. So yeah, that's what we're up to today. We're gonna probably just gonna be going through just random topics, nothing real specific today.
You should catch up a little bit on what's been going on. You know, what's happened.
A lot has happened. I'm not going to go into too many details just because I am looking at taking some pretty hefty legal measures.
It's also going to be business.
It's also going to be business, but for legal purposes. We'll discuss. We'll figure it out together. Now that's all out of the way. Blue, where can people find you?
You know what? Find me on the Twitter machine at blueboy _ blue like the cheese, like the France. Boy with two eyes, because, you know.
And if you think we're not going to be talking about the Olympics today, you're dead fucking wrong. Because we're still the Americans, and that's what we have to do right now.
Exactly, because, you know, we. Yeah, it's gross.
When you're born in America, okay, what they do is they take your foot and they stamp it onto your birth certificate, and under where your foot is stamped, it says this person must and will always be patriotic during the Olympics. So it's really ingrained to our DNA. We have to do it.
It's kind of like a gun to the head situation, you know.
Yeah.
It's you got to do it.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna be fun.
Yay! We love this. We love it.
But anyways,
where can they find you before we get into it?
yeah, they can find me also on the Twitter machine, aka X at Cody Cobalt, spelled with K's, KodyKobalt.
Quick question: do the Barbie movies count?
And those are children's movies, yes.
Gotcha. This is a strange house.
I tell you what.
Right off the bat, interesting. I love that I'm not allowed to put Barbie and the Three Musketeers next to the.
I don't own the Godfather. Don't be trying to put lives out into the world like that.
I'm just saying, classics need to be classics.
No, for sure, I get that. For those of y'all listening, Lee was over here helping me unpack all of my movies on the shelves, and I'm giving them some instructions, and some of them being that kids' movies must stay together. So
Which we've had a major debate about.
it's been a fun. It's been a fun discourse of what counts as a children's movie.
Because, I want to make sure that, after everything that's happened, I want to make sure that this house is set up perfectly.
Yeah.
So I don't know where, your kid's movie. Oh, no. Oh, no. Sorry, folks. There was an incident. You never know what one man's children's movie is another man's.
Everyday movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally get that.
it's what it was. This year. So,
Wow. That was happening in slow motion. Anyways, so speaking of the Olympics.
thanks.
Exactly. Speaking of the Olympics, what are your overall thoughts? We'll get into kind of some specifics,
Sure.
but what are your just overall thoughts on the Olympics?
Jeez. Talk about contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't tuned into too much. I mean, I've tuned in enough. I've seen the big stuff. The ones that people are like, whoa,
Simone,
Simone.
you've seen Simone.
Madam Biles. We watched her.
Yeah. What else have you seen?
I've seen a lot of random stuff.
Such as?
The disc one.
Hold on, because you said disc, but then you did the motion for something else. So I'm trying to figure out
Not golf.
what.
The one
Not
where they spin.
hammer through.
Hammer.
The one where they were spinning the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
hammer
hit
through.
the. As you can tell, I'm very involved. Very into sports. Saw some I don't know. To be honest, I've watched it over here, so whatever you see.
Whatever I've shown you is what you see.
Yes.
For sure. And I haven't seen a lot of it. There's stuff happening right now.
Yeah, it's like nonstop. Right?
It's pretty much. Pretty much. Well, the thing about it is that there's a huge time difference, right? So like
Paris.
For them right now, they're doing stuff and it's like in the evening.
True. It's like, hey Siri. Not sponsored. What time is it in Paris? Oh, it's like 10 p.m. right now.
Right. So they're done.
Yeah, they're
right.
Cookies.
They're sleeping right now.
Mm-hmm. Probably be up in a few hours, like 5 a.m. to train, whatever, as sports. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what I know. How about you?
Oh my god, there's been some fucking drama during these few Olympics. First, this one just popped in my head. Did you hear about what happened to Sha'Carri and the other woman from St. Lucia? So Sha'Carri Richardson and the woman who won gold, I want to say for this race, they were going to go warm up with like all the other athletes and everything. They were apparently denied entry to warm up with all the other athletes, and they were made to like walk around the arena to like another entrance, and it took him like an hour to like to like get all the way around. So then they missed warm up time, and they were like almost late for the race entirely.
Jesus.
Because of this like bullshit. I'm like, okay. And that bitch still came in and got second on that race.
So, nice job, guys. Way to be real.
It's like, wow, France, your racism showing.
Well, and that whole shit
whoever.
about like France banning like the contestants who wanted to wear their hijabs.
Mm-hmm.
That whole ban, which I'm like, okay, France. There have been so many times where we've pointed at you and have been like, "Hey, Islam," and I mean, again, we have said where we're from, United States. We can't really say anything.
Yeah.
Because our Islamophobia is, I mean, I can get into that, but will not because that's not chill vibes only.
Yeah.
But
our Islamophobia.
No, their Islamophobia.
The unfortunate country's Islamophobia.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. No, I do not. You worship whatever you want to worship.
Mm-hmm.
You practice what you want to preach. You do what you need. We support you.
You practice what you want to preach. Hey, you know what?
Chill vibes on.
That's pretty good. I like that. You practice what you want to preach. So.
It's very evangelist of me. But you know, do what you worship how you want, whatever.
Exactly.
But, yeah, that shit. I'm like, come on, France. Jeez. You're really showing your racism, your Islamophobia.
Come on, France.
And people are like, oh, France is so different. Like, just because they have accents.
What kind of accents do they have?
French accents. They're still white, so. Well, not
tell them.
Not all of them. A lot.
I mean,
a big majority.
A lot of French people are white. That's one thing they don't tell you.
It's one thing they don't want you to find out. Top 10 things. But
top 10 things French people don't want you to know. Number 3. They're white. They're white.
Number 2.
We're not today.
Chill vibes. But yeah, drama in the fucking who was it? That boxer.
Yeah.
And J.K. Miss Joanne.
Which,
Miss
ma'am.
Joanne.
Ma'am, go to sleep.
Fully.
Go take a nap.
Take a rest.
Get out of here.
It's got to be exhausting being on Twitter for all day.
But here's the thing. With that situation, from my understanding, it started with the woman that she was fighting.
Really?
Like, from my understanding of that situation, from, like, the sources that I read about it on, it was, like, it basically started with her basically being, like, she was, like, hitting me too hard, which I'm like, you're boxing.
You're literally boxing.
You're literally fighting. It's literally a contact sport where you're supposed to hit the other person. Like, you're supposed to hit the other person.
Don't you?
And you're supposed to do it hard.
Like, enough for them to fall down, at least.
Yeah. Because that's a good thing in your world of the sport. But because she hit you too hard, you think that there has to be something going on. So it kind of like spiraled into this whole thing.
Which, it feels like the past few years have just been this like nonstop discussion of like trans people in sports, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it's like, first of all, these 2 cis women, it just like to scale it all the way back. It's like people can identify the way that they want to, should be able to. They should also be able to participate in a sport if they want to.
If they want a sport, let them sport.
Like,
bro.
why is there? Why
do you know how few trans people even want to sport?
Yeah. Like, myself included.
We're not really sporting folk.
No.
You know, we're not like out here. It's not in the trans agenda to like take over sports because we don't care.
It's fine.
We don't care about sports.
We just want to be able to participate.
Like, the few of us that actually want to sport, just like let them sport. And let them sport where they feel comfortable sporting.
It's like, we don't really, we're not out here like necessarily questioning men anymore. We did back in the day with steroids and shit, but now it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
I mean, steroids that's an ongoing conversation.
But it's like, that's not people's first jump, or that's not people's first. It's not like performance dancing. It's not this. It's not that. It's like, oh, that person's really a man who's pretending to be a woman. And it's like that, you guys. Your transphobia is just getting ridiculous.
It is.
It's just like silly at this point.
I mean, it's always been silly.
Because if Miss Joanne is saying, oh yeah, I mean, now it's just getting like, now I think it's actually like,
now it's just absurd.
Now it's getting ridiculous. Now it's like, okay, all right, this is some reefer madness craziness. Like, please.
It is. It really, really is.
It's like,
but when you try to tell people that, it's like you're the crazy one.
Mm-hmm. Like anytime Joanne decides to lean in and say something on Twitter, I'm like, I already know it's about it.
You're gonna have to change that woman's name because every time you say Joanne, I think about Lady Gaga.
Oh my god! Okay, so I'm just
take my hand, Joanne. That's not what we want. We don't want this Joanne.
Gotcha. We don't want. Okay, no, not this Joanne.
So you're gonna have to. What's the K stand for? Catherine or some shit?
Catherine.
But that's fine.
Catherine. Miss Catherine. Madame Catherine. Like, whatever. Just, anytime she decides to butt in and bring her opinion to anything now, I'm like, okay, I already know this is stupid. I already know it's gonna be invalid.
I already know it's gonna be dumb as hell, but what do you got to say, man?
Like, go ahead.
May as well let you. Everybody else is.
Exactly. I can't fucking stop you. Like.
Exactly. Oh, the other thing I wanted to let our audience know is that this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Probably about 45, 50-ish minutes because I got kids and I got to go pick them up from school today. So.
Lucky there's a family, guys.
Do ba-da-da. Seth MacFarlane, don't sue us.
Don't sue us.
Exactly.
Don't sue us, or hire us. We're pretty funny. No. We don't want to work for him. Oh, he's weird. Speaking of weirdos.
Oh, no.
Can we pivot? Or whatever.
We've done our due diligence. We talked about the Olympics. We're good.
Olympics. Anyways.
Covered. Simone Biles, still the GOAT. They're letting a rapist compete, but nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, so.
Anyways.
Oh, yeah. And yet, we're banning women from wearing hijabs if they want to.
Yeah. Oh my god, and then that French guy's dick.
Yeah, dude. I finally saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
And he looks really embarrassed. It's crazy.
He looks really upset about the whole thing, yeah.
What? Damn it.
Why are you like
Please. I don't have to have such a huge throbbing cock.
Baby.
Just in my way. Holy. Because no one's
away.
Like, and I'm only saying this logistically, like nobody in his life, no one in his life has been like, especially in this sport, has been like, look, man, you gotta wear a cup or something. Jockstrap.
I feel like a cup would make it worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Like accentuates them, I feel.
That's true. But something to like contain.
Something to do something, bro.
I don't know, because it's just like, nobody was like, man, you gotta figure this out. Mm. Or like, maybe the sport isn't for you.
Not maybe the sport. Maybe your dick is too big, bro. You just can't do this one.
Sorry.
Sorry, man. We tried to work on all the logistics here, but it just wasn't working.
Sorry.
Your
This
dick
is
too big.
This is the only time you're going to be discriminated or something. Yeah. Exactly. Your dick is way too big.
Anyways, what did you want to pivot into from the Olympics? Where were you going?
Have we talked about Kobe Cove? Have we updated as much?
We haven't updated, but I mean, our last episode was the one about Tana. So yes, we've talked about it.
Yeah, I've talked about it, and it is kind of, I guess it's kind of old news, but it's still pretty shocking.
What?
About him, like about Tiny Meat Gang, the podcast, or the whole production.
What happened? I don't think I've heard.
Oh, okay. So if you haven't heard of this is pretty. So
I've only been like loosely keeping up. So like,
okay,
I'm barely keeping up with the Kardashians.
Got you. I got you. No worries. This is one of my Roman empires. That and Ben Affleck and Dunkin' Donuts.
But I
digress. That's a whole other episode of the time. But so it had been like what 2-3 weeks of him not saying anything, doing the DJ set, da 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 da.
I just want to reiterate this in the midst of being called a pedophile and being accused of statutory rape. This man decided it was going to be a good idea to go to that woman's hometown where she grew the fuck up and do a DJ set there. That shit is wild to me. And people are like, oh, well, it's just Vegas. It's because it's Vegas, da-da-da, whatever, Vegas. I don't give a fuck. That shit is weird.
It's so, like...
That is weird. Especially because when she was 17, guess where the fuck she was living? In Vegas. Like, that shit's fucking weird, bro. Just because, like, y'all hooked up or whatever in Florida, Tana was literally living in Vegas at the time.
Well, and that would scare anybody. Like, I couldn't imagine if I decided to, like, move to my hometown and then my abuser does the same thing. Like, that's crazy. That's scary. Like, really bird's eye view of it. It's terrifying. Like, that's just so violating.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Fucking wild. And the fact that, like, I feel like I've watched so many videos on this now. Like, I say loosely keeping up, but, like, I've still watched a good amount of videos on the topic from different people, different people talking about the same thing, different perspectives, whatever. But, like, for whatever reason, nobody wants to talk about the fact that that was Tana's hometown on top of it all. Like, it wasn't just that he went and did a DJ set and, like, acted like he didn't fucking care and, like, played Sorry by Justin Bieber or whatever. Like, it wasn't just that, which people are upset about that. And I'm like, sure, whatever. But, like, it was impromptu and it was in that person's hometown. Like, that's fucking weird. That's weird. Because, like, he wasn't even promoting it. Like, it was the club or whatever that was promoting it. So it's so weird. It's so weird.
People aren't giving him enough credit in that regard at all. Because that shit is they
just don't think he's, like, that calculating.
No. Which is wild. Which is crazy, because this is the same man that slept with the same minor that we're talking about. Like, of course, like, this is what they do. This is, like, it's a
weird, like, power play. It's, like, some weird, like, violation of, like, your privacy. It's, like, yeah, like, I did that to you, but, like, and, like, that's over and this is over, but I still have this amount of control because look where I can just pop up.
Exactly.
I can just pop up in your hometown.
And that's scary.
That's just fucking wild. And again, people are going to be like, okay, but it's different because it's Vegas. And it's like, it's not different because it's Vegas. Just because Vegas is, like, a huge, metropolis, city, whatever you want to call it, huge, like, tourist attraction, whatever. People come in and out of there, da da da. You can say whatever you want to say about Vegas. And they're all going to be probably legitimate and, you know, some sort of truth behind them. But the other thing that is also true about Vegas in this particular situation is that it is somebody's hometown. And it's somebody's hometown who's involved in this situation. And it's not the abuser's hometown. It's not like he went back to his hometown to do a DJ set, which I feel like would be like, oh, he's like running away from the problem, whatever. This feels like he's almost running straight into the problem. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like he said, what could I do to make this situation worse? What if I did, what can I do that would be like still reference Tana, but like not reference her at all? What if I went to her hometown right now?
Which is just crazy. And like, but I mean, to that point too, like, I think it was almost smart to do that on his end too. Not, this is not me endorsing what he did at all, but it's all because he's like, Tana has said this before, and like so many other people have said this. He, whether we like it or not in hindsight now, was a very likable YouTube celebrity. Was like the one that wasn't supposed to be bad. So I don't think people still understand that he could think that way. So I think he understands that to some level. Like I know it's like a huge conspiracy theory on my end, but I feel like he still knows that he can write on that because there are still people defending him, and there are people
dude,
like you saw that DJ.
As soon as he texted Tana and was like, "Are we good?" I fucking knew. I fucking knew. That's not a text that you send to somebody that you like are good with. You know what I mean? Like,
because you don't have to question.
Like, you don't have to ask if you're good with somebody if you're good with them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like maybe like I understand like not being able to like pick up on like social cues or whatever, and you gotta like check in with people. That's not. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like. I'm not talking about like autistic people that like can't pick up on social cues and they have to ask people like if they're good to like reassure themselves or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm also not talking about just like checking in with people to make sure you're good. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is like you did something bad to somebody. Okay. And you ended that relationship on whatever kind of terms. We don't know if they like stopped hooking up on good terms or on bad terms or whatever. That part of the story is not really clear, at least from what I've heard. So like we don't know how that stopped, right? But what we do know is that he was a grown man sleeping with a not grown woman. And that's a bad thing in like polite society. Right? Bare minimum, that's a bad thing in polite society. So he's done a bad thing. Okay? Now this person that he did the bad thing to is speaking up about that bad thing in not the most positive of lights. And his response to that is, hey, we good? We good? We good?
Because it's like we all know it's not like checking in or like making sure that Tana's okay. It's hey, so you're gonna keep your mouth shut.
Suing me, or like should I get a lawyer?
Like, you know, statute of limitations.
Yeah.
Like, you know how people like me. And the fact that he was like, yeah, I have a wedding coming up and all this stuff. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay.
great.
Good for you. Okay, like we get it. You're winning, even though you did a horrible fucking thing.
Yeah.
We see it.
Yeah.
We understand.
Yeah.
Are you good is such a bad way to like you should have just not like if you it like playing devil's advocate, if you just wanted this to go away, you would have even just denied it. You would have not talked to her. You're just implementing yourself. Like you're just making it worse because the fact that you're like, are you good is insinuating like, is this good? Like you're insinuating that I know what I did was wrong.
Yeah. And so, you know what I did was wrong, but I just want to make sure.
But like that's in the past, right?
Yeah.
So we're good, right? Like it just makes him look worse. And it's just he should have just been like, I don't know what do you mean? Like that's what I mean, it was gonna come out anyways. Like all of this was gonna come but you know, if he was trying to defend himself ever at all of this, he wouldn't have been like, "Are we good? Are we fine?" Because then that just means like, well, I know what I did was fucked up,
but like we're good, right?
But we're fine. It's okay. Like you don't say that to somebody who you like didn't know you've wronged. You know.
Yeah.
You don't just come at like you don't. Well, I mean, you know, there are some times where it's like maybe you say something offhand, you're like, wait, are we good? Like, this is a big difference between that. Like actually checking in on a friend, and you know, sometimes people say shit, but this is much bigger than that. This is just like, you know, now that you're grown up and you understand what I did to you was wrong. We're good though, right?
Good.
And it's like to the people who are like, you know, why didn't she say anything? First of all, she has been saying things for years, but like people are just trying to say like she's trying to get clout and stuff like that. It's just like she's
what clout? Tana's been doing fine.
First of all,
like
and, you know, and with that, it's like she's 25, 26. Gay.
Yeah, I think something around there. 25,
so,
26.
Frontal lobe is finally developed. She's been an adult for a little bit. She's looking back into her past, and she's recognizing that what happened to her is wrong. Because when you're 17 and you're running around and
you're not thinking about
consequences. You're not thinking about like how this is going to affect me in the long run. This is just, you know, live fast. Into like what Tana has expressed to us and what we've seen is like she has not only grown up really fast, but in front of a lot of people. So it's just like, you know, for people being like, oh, this is just clown. That's just such a dumb excuse to defend Cody.
It is.
But anyways, with that.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people have been commenting on like Kelsey's his wife, her like YouTube channel and stuff like that. And a lot of people have been commenting on Noelle as well and have been like, hey, you kind of own a business with this guy.
Okay, so here's okay. Sorry, continue because I definitely have something to say about this.
But to make long story short, the company sent out not even a like written letter to the audience. They just sent a copy of like an email that they sent to their employees. Mm-hmm. So not even like a direct anything. And it basically said like, we value this team, blah, blah, blah. We love you guys so much. Due to Cody's personal life, you know, a lot of bad stuff has been happening, but we just want to make sure that we value you guys and like.
You like these socks?
Fun socks.
I think you eye them.
I was trying to see what they are.
It's like
little ties. That's so cute. I love socks.
I like to have fun with business socks.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you gotta show your personality. Nice socks.
Thanks. Welcome to grown up time with
Cody. Exactly. This is hey kids. To our kid listeners, this is what it sounds like.
Kid listeners.
No.
Shouldn't at least.
No.
Anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, basically they were saying you guys are amazing. We love you so much. Sorry about no. Cody is stepping back from day-to-day production. So he's still there.
So he's stepping down from like being CEO or whatever.
He's stepping away from day-to-day production. So he's not going to be like
in the office.
He's not really going to be like.
He's still making decisions.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So he's still there, but he's stepping down. So
they went. They had a meeting, and somebody said, "Hey, Cody." And like this is rough for me personally as a Cody, as a Cody Co even.
Right. Now you're gonna have to carry the name.
I know. I gotta get the SEO going.
Come on.
So they had a meeting, and somebody said, "Cody." They rubbed their eyes like this, like under their glasses even, and they just said, "Cody, what the fuck?
Happened.
The fuck is going on, man?" And then whatever they talked about, and they said like, "Here, we can't have you in front of the camera right now. Fucking sorry, you can't be in front of the camera right now because your face is dropping our views. You dirty bitch."
Exactly.
And then they said, "That's it. That's it."
Yeah. That stuff is. I opened it. It's not DVDs.
Start. But yeah, so they went, "You dirty bitch, you can no longer be in front of the camera. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna send out this letter, letting people know you're gonna be stepping away from day-to-day production. But you are gonna be doing all the work here."
Exactly. So he still gets paid. He's still part of the company, but not part of the day. So he's
fine. So he's going to be.
So it's with the song. I think it was the Cody. It's just. Have we learned?
No. We've learned absolutely nothing. They get away with it again and again and again and again. So, it's just one of those things. But I think that one of the things that kind of makes this a little bit different is that I feel like we're in a time in space right now where people I feel like people are getting kind of riled up. I feel like people are getting kind of riled up for something. You know what I mean? Like a shift. Like it's like there's a shift coming of like people being fed the fuck up, like people that think it's okay to touch children. And people are getting fed up with that shit. People are getting fed up with like not being paid fairly, with hundreds of billions of heirs. People just grossing way too much money. off of the backs of people literally killing themselves for a Klondike bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Die.
That's their slogan.
That's what it should be. So it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy world we live in.
It's like people are getting really tired of power dynamics that favor a certain group of people, and it's definitely part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just rich white dudes who are just able to get away with shit. It's like, we're getting tired.
And also, I gotta speak on something here because I don't know how much. I forget how much we touched on it in the last episode because we touch on so many things, you know. But what? But I'm still hearing the rhetoric of people that are like, okay, but Hannah is insert horrible thing to say about people. Insert like Hannah's a known lie. Insert Hannah slept around with blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like they're using it to discredit her and what happened to her and to minimize, you know, the amount of trauma she could be dealing with from it because it happened so long ago. Tana slept with everybody because Tana lies about everything. Blah blah blah. What about Tana Khan? She's a con. Blah blah blah. Like everybody's trying to use all these things against Tana, and I understand where they come from because you know so many of us are familiar with the Boy Who Cried Wolf, right? So like I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, like how long do we have to say that like this is not something that especially women have to lie about, unfortunately. Like are there women that have lied about it? Yes. Yeah. That happens. The rule of large numbers, right, basically says that in a large group of people, something's gonna happen to someone. Okay. So yes, in a large group of people that unfortunately have to go through sexual trauma, some of those people are gonna lie about it. That's just the way it is. But that number of people that are gonna lie about it is so small, so teensy tiny in comparison to the amount of people that aren't lying about it. It doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't even matter. And like the people that be like, okay, but like if there's no evidence, that we're just gonna be putting a good man down, blah blah blah. A good man would not text Hannah and be like, hey, are we good?
A good man doesn't react the way that he's been reacting. Like that's not that he's been scummy about it, which means he knows he can. Like he's not trying to put out a fire because he's being wronged. He's trying to put out a fire because he knows he's been caught, but he wants things to go back to normal.
Right.
So it's just this whole argument of, well, it took her this long and she was this type of a person and she was a child. She was a child in a really shitty situation. She has spoken about how like her parents were really neglectful.
Yeah.
Like
she's been through some shit that
she had to raise.
She's been through so much shit that isn't sexual trauma that it's like statistically the amount of things that Hannah's been that aren't sexual. People going through those types of things, the probability of them also enduring sexual trauma just based off of the other things that she's discussed in her life, the other traumas in her life. It's like obvious.
No shit.
No shit. But again, why would she have the need to lie about it? What is the point of lying about it? What is the point of her literally coming out of fucking left field in a space where she's expecting, by the way, because all of this shit started coming out after that like live podcast that her and Brooke did that was not supposed to be videoed, first of all, in the first place. By the way, okay, I was talking about that. But it wasn't even supposed to be videotaped. There were signs everywhere saying, not to take video of the thing because it was supposed to feel like, just the girls like talking, whatever. And they didn't want that stuff getting out. So that being said, Tana's saying this in a situation where she thinks her words aren't going to be leaving the room. So why lie? Why lie? If you don't think that your words are going to be leaving that space, why lie? And I'm saying that because I don't think she's fucking lying, because she was saying it in a space where she could feel vulnerable, right? Like she created a space where people hadn't been taking video, she says, pretty much the entire time that they had been on tour. They didn't have any issues with anything that they talked about getting out. It wasn't until like this very last show they did in Los Angeles where somebody had a videotape and somebody had to like leak everything. So that whole time she's like building up this trust with her fans that people haven't been videotaping, haven't been leaking things. So she's being able to like be increasingly vulnerable because she thinks that people are doing the right thing, right? So now you're in this space of, one of your last shows or whatever. It's like where you live now, so you're home, whatever. You could be as vulnerable as you think you can be, right? Because you've had all these other shows and everything's gone right. So why not really go out with a bang, right? Why not really really dig deep with what you're saying and like really be vulnerable with your audience, right? So why then at that moment do people think that she's just gonna be like lying? like building it up that way, what then makes people think that she's just gonna go, oh yeah, but this thing happened and it's just completely false. That doesn't make any sense because she doesn't have anything to gain from that because she doesn't think that anything's gonna be leaky.
Right. Like those people who are saying, oh, it's for attention, it's for it's like, you guys clearly don't understand what, like, you guys aren't even getting attention because that is not the case at all. And it's also like, to that point too, this is something that wasn't just like, that wasn't a one off thing that she said about her. Mm-hmm. She has been for years whatever the fuck. And like, so many people have been able to do the math for so long, and now all of a sudden his fans are just like, oh, well, it's Tana. What do you expect? And it's like, what do you mean? What the fuck? And it's like,
and that's crazy.
And this is the same guy who's like built this whole platform of like, I'm a feminist, I'm this, I'm that, I'm such a nice guy, I'm such a good person. Like, even though I say fucked up shit, I'm still nice. And it's like, bro, you're just the person that you make fun of. And they're mad about it. Like, the people who, like, let's just say, there were way too many people at that DJ set. There were way too many women that were way too excited to see him. It's like, you got, like, here, I thought this was 2024. Like, what the fuck are we? What the problem? Like,
where we're dressing
forward, hard. Like, it's crazy between like the LGBTQ community, women. Like, what? What's going on?
What is
What are we doing?
what is going on?
What's going on? What's going on?
On that note,
Oh yeah. What's going on?
I think we're gonna end it because I just realized I need to put something else. We are gonna end it here, folks. But I want to say thank y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all listening. Keep it up. We're gonna be getting back into the swing of things here. This has been Chill Vibes Only. We're Cody and Blue. Bye.